is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go, baby.
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break.
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Friday, October 2nd, 2020, Season 16, Episode number 36. Welcome to another edition of The Break. It is the final episode of the week. We're going to get you guys ready for Cowboys versus Browns. It happens this Sunday at noon at AT&T Stadium. And very excited for this game because my hope is that the Cowboys will put it all together against a team that Amber feels like is not very good. And get a win here that we can all be proud of. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let's first start with an injury update. Dave, why don't you give me an update from the coaches' press conference today on Tyron Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence? What's their outlook for this weekend?
They're playing. That's the outlook.
They're playing.
Honestly, Mike McCarthy hasn't always been super forthcoming with injury stuff, so I was very surprised. I mean, he did kind of couch it that, they'll make sure there's no setbacks between now and Sunday morning, but he basically was like, yeah, I think both of those guys are going to play. They're on track.
And that's a good thing for the Cowboys this weekend. You're heading into a game against one of the premier pass rushers in the league. How much does this help them, Amber?
A lot. I mean, I would hope that Tyron is able to really play this day. I wonder if it's another one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, he'll go out there at the beginning of the game, prior of the game starting, just to see how his body is feeling, if that's going to end up being a game day decision. But obviously, anytime you get a guy back like Tyron, that is going to be something positive for your O-line just in general.
All right, we're going to jump into some game previews. And, Nick, I'm going to start with you. This first question that we have, and I got a list of questions here that's going to help break down this upcoming matchup, Cowboys versus Browns. But let's start with you, Nick. The first question, McCarthy said earlier in this morning he had a call with our radio, our sister partner, The Fan here locally, 105.3 The Fan. And he said that they were purposefully aggressive on special teams to start the season, but he wouldn't really divulge details as to why. He was pressed on it. He said that's not something he'd want to necessarily divulge. I thought it was an interesting comment because I'd never really heard a coach talk about doing certain things at certain points in the year specifically to prepare them for other parts of the year. What would you think would be the reason why the Cowboys might want to be especially aggressive on special teams to start the season?
Well, there's different reasons. I'll pick one. I think that what this team and this franchise needed was a culture change. Everyone knew that, saw that, felt that. And this is one of the things to do that is to come in here and show that you're going to change it up. Now, this whole year has been a culture change just because of things out of our control. But I think as far as the football goes, I think Mike McCarthy wanted to come in and prove that they're going to do things differently. They're going to be more aggressive. They're going to take more chances. And I think that one of the ways to do that is to do some things, shake it up the way that you've never had. Now, there's other reasons for it, but I think that was one of them as well.
Amber, what do you think? What do you think is the reason why the Cowboys may have been especially aggressive on special teams to start the season?
I would assume you always want to put different things on tape just to keep opposing teams from kind of guessing what you're going to do. The only thing when I think about that is that when you do that, you want to be successful on making those plays actually happen, and that hasn't necessarily been the case for the Cowboys special teams group where they have been making mistakes. And it's like, okay, how much does that really scare the opposing team? I mean, do they see that as an advantage of like, okay, special teams are susceptible to making mistakes, so we're just going to prepare to attack them this way? So that's all I can think of wanting to put things on tape to keep your opposing guessing, but I haven't seen it really working for the Cowboys so far.
Dave, what do you think, and do you think it's helped at all, whatever that strategy may have been, or whatever you think of that strategy?
I don't know if it's helped because it hasn't worked, but I mean, yeah, I think Nick and AG laid it out pretty well. For me, I think it's probably just all about tendencies, showing future opponents what you're willing to do and influencing the way that they play you. Which, yeah, like Amber said, like the irony is that it hasn't really worked. But if you've got teams second guessing the way you're going to handle things on special teams, I would imagine it can work as an advantage as the season goes along. Even not necessarily when you want to do something crazy, but change the way that they cover you for standard stuff. So that's the best that I have. Hopefully it works a little bit better as they continue to do it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys that it definitely could help just putting it on tape. I think it could also kind of hinder a little bit because I think you get farther into the season. If teams kind of have seen some of the things that you're willing to do, then they may be a little bit more prepared. So you're not going to take anybody by surprise. That element is now probably gone to some degree. And so I do think that it can kind of go either way on you there. Let's go to the next question. Here's the question: the greatest challenge for Dallas, controlling Myles Garrett or stopping Nick Chubb? Which is a greater challenge for them? Nick, let's start with you.
The greater challenge would probably be, I would say, stopping Myles Garrett. That definitely is the biggest. That's the area that would hurt this team the most if you can't get him blocked. But I would say, Tyron will help there, even if he doesn't rush against Tyron. I think able to give some help to the other side of it and maybe, chip, double team, whatever it takes. But I think having Tyron on one side certainly would help. And I think that would be the biggest key for me.
Dave.
It's Chubb for me because what Myles Garrett does, you can't completely control it, but you have a large say in how that plays out. You can get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly. You can run the ball. You can misdirect. You can move. You can roll Dak away from wherever Garrett's rushing from. You can do a lot of stuff to negate a pass rush. You just got to tackle Chubb, and not very many people have success. And this Cowboys defense has been susceptible to it at times. So that's scarier for me, honestly.
Amber.
I would say with Chubb as well, just because, yes, Myles Garrett, he's a very talented guy, but the Cowboys have already faced some talented players on the opposing defensive line, and they've been able to kind of manage it, and yes, it's going to be a problem, but at the end of the day, I can't get over the fact of previous years, and I know every year it's a new team, and especially now with the new coaching staff, but I've seen well too often how the running game can really hurt the Cowboys, how the opposing team can really attack the Cowboys defense using the running backs that aren't necessarily the best around the leagues, and they've been able to make it happen. So I would go with Chubb for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with AG and Dave on this one. I think that when you look at this, Cowboys have been able to figure out ways to get their quarterback time to be able to throw the ball. I don't think that's been a problem, and quite frankly, I think they faced some pretty good pass rushers, maybe not the same edge rusher as they're facing this weekend, but I think there's some ways they can neutralize that. Stopping the run to me is a bigger challenge for this team because I know that there are games when they just kind of have these lapses where they just can't seem to get it right.
It's two different questions, though, really. I mean, it seemed like y'all were answering it differently. I think I think that it's like, what's the bigger challenge, or what do we see happening actually? I mean, do we see does this team built to stop the run? Because I think, if you have a pass rusher that you can't block, that's the biggest thing. Now the question is are they gonna block him? Are they gonna tackle Nick Chubb? I think there's two different things, but I think going into a game, you can definitely wreck. A defensive end can definitely wreck the game. I don't know if he will, but that. To answer your question, I still think it's Myles Garrett.
No, I hear what you're saying. I guess the way I look at it is, again, I think that the challenge here is how do you negate either one of them, or how do you neutralize one of them? And I think it's a bigger challenge to me to stop Chubb than it is necessarily to stop Garrett, because I think there's some things you can do to kind of neutralize Garrett a bit more than maybe the running game. Let's move on to the next question. Who has a better set of offensive weapons? We heard Bucky earlier this week say that this may be the best set of offensive weapons as the Cowboys have faced all season, and I think they faced some pretty good offensive weapons. But who has better offensive weapons? You got Chubb, Hunt, Beckham, Landry on one side. You got Elliott, Cooper, Gallup, and Lamb on the other. I purposefully did not include the quarterback because I think that slants it way too much. But looking at the skill position, who has the better offensive weapons? Let's start first with you, Amber.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Yeah, those other guys are pretty talented, but at the same time, and I know you said you purposely left the quarterback out, but I have to lean on the quarterback. I think that Dak Prescott is currently a better quarterback. He's the one that starts with the ball in his hand and hands it off to one of those guys. So I think that just overall, including Dak Prescott in there, I would definitely just pick the Cowboys within that group.
Dave.
You didn't even mention Austin Hooper, did you?
I did not, and I you could throw him in there if you want to.
That's honestly really tough. I don't know if there's a wrong answer. I think the Cowboys have 3 great receivers. The Browns really have 2, but the Browns have a much better tight end. The Browns have 2 legitimately really good running backs. We don't know if Kareem Hunt's going to play in this game, but you would say their backfield is deeper, at least, if not better. That's really tough. I'd probably say the Cowboys because they have the extra receiver, and that's hard. I'd say Cowboys because it's a Cowboys show, but I don't think Browns is a wrong answer.
So you're saying over there on Browns break right now, they're like the Browns all the way. It's the Browns.
On Browns break, they're like, "Are you kidding? Who they playing at tight end? Who's get out of here?" Yeah.
All right, Nick, who you got?
Well, I mean, you do have to factor in the quarterback,
I know,
like she said, because he makes those guys better, And so I'm looking at it like Patrick Mahomes gets to pick which team he wants to play on. If that would happen, God, I hope that's not tampering. But I'm just talking about the best quarterback in the league, having the options. I would say Cleveland.
Okay. Why?
Because I think Baker Mayfield doesn't help those guys enough. I've seen Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham really, play at a very high level, and when they don't have the quarterback helping them, and same with Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper was struggling too before he got into a better offense. I think the 2 backs are way better in Cleveland. I don't say, yeah, they are. Yeah,
way better.
Well, Hunt is better than Tony Pollard. And I think
is that because he's had more opportunity than Tony Pollard has? I mean, obviously he was a starter in Kansas City before.
Yeah. So I think those 2 give the check mark to running backs there because of the 2. The tight end gets it, and then the receiver, it would go to Dallas because of what Dave said, the 3rd receiver. But I just think it's so close. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one, but I would say Cleveland, I guess.
All right.
You would probably say Odell is the best of the 5 right now. Probably. Maybe I'm biased. I mean, obviously I'm biased.
I was about to say, definitely you're biased. I'll say this. Odell, what he was doing early in his career in New York, yes, you would say that. I have not seen that Odell since he's been in Cleveland. Now, part of that is what Nick's talking about. I don't think he has the trigger man to get him the ball in those places where he can make those great catches and show us that all the time. But again, you can only go by what you see. I haven't seen that Odell since he's been in Cleveland. I don't think his production has been a top 10, top 15 receiver since he's been in Cleveland. And I do think Amari is that type of receiver.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Very fair. That's a good one. They're very close.
Very, very close. All right, let's go on to the next question. If Dallas does one thing better in week 3 than they did in week 4 than they did in week 3, what would have the biggest impact? And how likely is it to happen? Let's start first with you, Dave.
This is basic. This isn't even analysis. Just win the frickin' turnover battle. If this team can stay neutral or win the turnover battle, they're going to win 12 or 13 games. The problem is that they've been very careless with the ball the last 2 weeks. And, it's early, but it doesn't look like this is a defense that's going to finish with more than 15 to 18 takeaways. Unless something crazy happens, we just haven't seen that. So it's going to take the offense playing much cleaner football to even stay neutral, let alone win. But if they can do it, if they're either neutral or positive in turnovers, they're going to win so many more games than they lose, and that just hasn't been the case so far.
Amber.
That's exactly what I would say as well. I'm not even asking the Cowboys defense to to get the ball. I'm not even asking them to get some turnovers for their offense. All I'm asking is for the Cowboys offense to all I'm asking is for the Cowboys offense to hang on to the ball and quit making the mistakes that they've been making so far. It has cost them, and it's very important, and I don't expect to see veterans like Dak or Zeke just let the ball loose on little things that shouldn't be happening. And the thing that concerns me is how often we've seen it. Like, I thought, oh, that was that one game. Okay, next week it'll get better. But it's still kind of carrying over week by week where they make little mistakes like that at one point it needs to stop. So hopefully that point is this weekend.
Nick?
Well, I mean, what do they got to do better? I mean, stop the deep ball, obviously, but also, it was a 7-point game, but a lot of these games are going to be even closer than that. They gotta make their extra points. I mean, the kicking game's got to be shored up. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but I mean, having blocks and missing extra points and dropping the kickoff. I mean, these are routine plays that, like I said last week, these are routine plays that we will see tonight on Friday night, high school football. And so you see it on Saturday, you definitely have to see it on Sunday, and that's just inexcusable.
Yeah. I'll throw this one out there. I think really what we're seeing, the story for me this season is, can the Cowboys finish? Because in all 3 games, they were in position. Mm-hmm. And in one of the games, they were able to make the play that needed to be made in order to win the game. And the other 2, they weren't. And I think that's going to be the storyline all season. When you have a defense like they have, that's not really going to get a lot of stops. And probably in critical moments when you're playing good teams, they're probably not going to get that stop. It's going to be up to Dak and the offense to be able to figure out a way to be able to move the ball down the field and either tie or win, right? And I think that's going to be the storyline. If they can do it and if they can be successful in it, they'll get way more wins than losses. If they can't, then I think that's going to be a challenge for them.
Yeah, one of the things that I guess you could say they had the lead against the Falcons in the second half because they kicked it at the game, as the time was out. But they've only led by 1 point. They've only led by 1 in all 3 games. They have led in the second half, but only by a point, and they've never led by more than 1 point. I think it was 14-13 Rams, and of course the 40-39, and then 31-30 for just a second against Seattle. But that goes to show that they're not playing. I mean, just think how better the offense could be and the defense would be if you could have more than just a 1-point lead. So I think getting out to a fast start is really critical here.
Yeah, and against teams that are not as good, maybe they can manage to do that. Against good, especially good offenses, I think they're going to be in situations where teams are going to match them. If they go down to score, then that team's going to come right back and score, and they're going to be in these close games, and they're ultimately going to have to finish.
See, think about Atlanta and Seattle. They're not built to hang on to leads like that because they like to throw it around. So Atlanta's not comfortable trying to run out the clock. They want to really throw it around. But Cleveland gets up by 10 or 15 points, they'll be just fine because that's the way they want to play.
It's actually going to get to be a problem for the Cowboys because they can run the ball and they can run it well.
Right.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, I'm going to ask these guys the question, if the Cowboys lose, the primary reason will be blank. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
It's funny. As we travel places, often we find the places we want to travel aren't really places at all. They're people. They're grandparents, moms, old friends, and new nephews. That's why at American Airlines, we've been using enhanced cleaning measures so you can feel confident every step until you get to them. So as always, our people can't wait to take you to yours. American Airlines, you are why we fly.
Back to the break.
Get your tickets to see the Cowboys take on the Browns when they return to AT&T Stadium Sunday, October the 4th. Just a limited number of tickets are on sale now. Get yours at dallascowboys.com/tickets.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking Cowboys versus Browns. And before the break, I let you guys know the question I'm going to ask you coming out of the break is, if the Cowboys lose, the primary reason will be blank. I'm going to start first with Amber.
If the Cowboys lose, the primary reason I think will be because they weren't able to get out of their own way. I think the Cowboys have actually had a pretty... If you take out all the mistakes, they would be so much better. We've seen when they play good. We've seen when they just get the offense moving. Regardless of what the defense is currently struggling with, this offense, I see them as having the capability of carrying the team. But right now, they just can't get out of their own way. If they clean up the game, if they stop getting penalties, which have, again, cost them a lot this year so far, I think they can win the game. But if that's not the case, then we'll end up seeing another loss.
That's actually a great point, Amber, because I think all season, like if you go back and look at all these games, there's just this whole litany of mistakes that they've made throughout the games, and some the one time in Atlanta they were able to overcome them. The other two games they were not. Nick, what's your answer here?
Yeah, I think if they have to kick field goals, I don't think that they'll win in this game. If they get down and bogged down in the red zone, get penalties or even turnovers, and settle for 3 points, which isn't always 3 points. I mean, you have to kind of wonder about the operation of everything right now on the special teams. So, but they've got to cash in and they've got to get touchdowns. We know that these games are going to be high scoring. So, I've never really seen a lot of high scoring games with field goals. So you've got to score touchdowns. So I think that, just like she said, I mean, you can't have those mistakes when you're trying to go score a touchdown.
Dave.
If they lose, I assume it's because the defense can't hold up its end of the bargain. And when I say that, I'm not asking them to hold anybody to 10 points, but what we've seen the last 2 weeks is it's rough. I mean, 39 points, 38 points, busted coverages. You think about what Odell could do, or if Chubb just absolutely gashes them and they can't do anything about it. Because I have absolute confidence that the offense can score 27, 28, 30 points. Like, I just do. Even with Myles Garrett and all that. Like, I believe in the offense. So I just need the defense to force a field goal or two. Or, hey, get a takeaway. That would be great. I don't have a lot of optimism that they will, but that would be wonderful. So I just need a little extra, just a little bit more from the defense. Make that one extra stop that lets you win the game 28-24 instead of losing 31-28.
All right, we're going to start a new segment today, and I want to preface this by saying we actually got into this conversation yesterday with Bucky. Nick, you asked him about it, and he explained what it is. Where's Waldo? It's kind of this scouting term of looking for the guy that is the point of greatest vulnerability for the opponent, right? So what I think we're going to do is we're going to... Wait, why do you look like that?
It's just because you're so diplomatic in the way you say it. I mean, most people just be like, who sucks? I mean, like...
I don't want to say it like that.
I know, that's great, though.
That's rude. I'm not rude.
That's why you're a director.
So here's what we're going to do.
You're going to play the game.
That's how I would say it.
You're going to play the game where we single out the weakness on the team, but you don't want to be rude about it.
Yes, I don't want to be rude about it. There's a better way to say it. You can say it nicely. As my wife always says, shout out to her, it's her birthday. But as my wife always says, like, there's a nice way to say everything,
Well,
right?
just
There's a good way to say everything.
It's funny when I talked about Baker Mayfield and he said he was overdrafted. That's like when they say at the bar, "I think you've been overserved." No, you're drunk. That's what it is. You suck. That's what. Okay.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're playing Where's Waldo. I'm gonna give you the team and the side of the ball, and you're gonna tell me who's Waldo. All right. So actually, let's start with the Browns. Browns offense. Nick, who's Waldo? And by the way, it doesn't have to be a person. It could be a position group. So you could say secondary or run defense or whatever.
This could be famous last words, but I mean, it's the quarterback. It's that guy.
You keep pointing him out, too.
I don't like him.
I know you don't.
I mean, I respect what he's done, but I don't.
Talk about personal.
No, it's not personal with him. I never met the guy. I mean, I'm sure, if he was
You don't like A&M.
Huh?
You don't like A&M. You don't like Oklahoma, so I think it probably
He was at Tech. Baker Mayfield? Tech and then Oklahoma.
Tech and Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. But
those guys move around a lot.
They do,
right? But
and they win Heisman.
Here's the thing: the same thing that everybody other than OU fans hated about him is probably the reason why he was good and why he got it. I mean, he just plays with that, and his players, gravitate toward him. But I just don't think that he has the arm talent to just kind of lead them down the field to make all the throws. I don't think he's that mobile to do that. I mean, I'm sure they have a left guard or center that's probably a weak link, but I think that you got to make him beat you, and because they have a lot of those weapons. You got to put the ball in his hands to say, hey, this guy's going to beat us, and he hasn't just proven that he can go and do that. So I'm gonna say I don't like calling him Waldo, but I mean I think he's the one that is not he's not going to lead him.
Amber, Browns offense. Where's Waldo?
I was gonna pick the quarterback as well, just because, like I mentioned earlier, that is who gets the ball in their hands first. Like, the ball doesn't get to Odell without getting to him first. So I think if the Cowboys defense manages to make him uncomfortable throughout the game, create some pressure, just get him. I don't see him as the type of quarterback who is able to keep that poise all throughout the game, stay focused, manage to get out of the pocket and be precise with his throws. So I think that's just the easiest point of attack for the Cowboys this week. Just make him uncomfortable, and then that just trickles down to everything else, just simplifying things for the Cowboys secondary and just so on. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, attack the quarterback, but I think that he has the biggest effect if the Cowboys really do pressure him throughout the game.
Hellman.
I want to be very clear. He's definitely not a bad player, but Jedrick Wills is a rookie starting his fourth career game. He's a top 10 pick at left tackle. He's a good player, and he probably will be for a long time, to paraphrase Jason Garrett. But he's still a rookie, and the Cowboys have the NFL sack leader and 2 Pro Bowlers, and they should be able to make this guy's life uncomfortable. That should be a benefit for the Cowboys. If they can't, then what the hell's going on? And the beauty of it is, I think Baker Mayfield's biggest problem is he's just not 100% comfortable in the pocket. He gets happy feet. He likes to bail out of there. So you don't even have to get sacks. Just make him uncomfortable. Make him have to move. And you should be able to have success doing that against the guy starting his fourth career game. You would like to think, at least.
All right, Dave, we're going to double back. Give us the where's Waldo on the Browns defense?
I would like to think it's the cornerbacks. Our buddy Terrence Mitchell's out there, the old Cowboys draft pick who loves to hold people. Denzel Ward, I think he upgraded his status, so it looks like he's going to play, but he's dealing with an injury. So, your first round pick's dealing with an injury. You don't have a lot else there. By the way, that's the strength of the Cowboys' entire roster is receivers. So if you can protect Dak, I got to believe there's going to be open receivers all over the field.
Amber, where's Waldo on the Browns' defense?
Just the secondary in general, just because, I mean, we've talked about the kind of pressure that they can have on your offense, and just stopping or trying to stop the running game. So I think that there's going to be a pretty good battle there, but where the Cowboys can take advantage is using Dak's mobility, getting out and just throwing the ball to the receivers that, in my opinion, I mean, they've played pretty well just in general. So I think that's the weakest link just because of how good I see the Cowboys receiver group being.
Yeah, it's Mitchell for me. We was here, and he was a feisty player, and he still is, I'm sure. And he's very aggressive. But they drafted Ward number 1 because they needed help there, and I don't know if he's lived up to those expectations just yet. I mean, I think he's been pretty good, but he's still a young cornerback as well. But Mitchell on the other side, I think that's where they're going to have to attack.
All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back, and we'll find Waldo on the Cowboys offense and on the Cowboys defense. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Back to the break.
If you're going to AT&T Stadium this weekend to watch the Cowboys take on the Browns, be aware of the safe stadium policies such as wearing a mask, keeping distance, prepare yourself for cashless transactions. You can visit dallascowboys.com/safestadium for details.
All right, it is the final segment of the break. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the start. We're playing our new segment called Where's Waldo? We talked about the Browns and their points of vulnerability. Let's go to the Cowboys side. Let's talk about the Cowboys offense. Amber, where's Waldo on the Cowboys offense?
It has to be someone on the O-line. Just depends on what combination the Cowboys do end up going with this weekend. I don't know how they're going to decide to make their little combos here, but it all depends on what happens with Tyron Smith, if he plays or not. But I think your weakest link would be someone on the O-line. Now, I don't think that's going to end the game for you, but out of the whole offense, it just someone on the O-line, one of those end positions there, tackle. Or if they shuffle things, I just don't know. I mean, is it going to be Connor Williams there playing the way that he's been playing? So just the O-line in a section there.
Nick?
I mean, I'm 100% confident that this is going to be I know whoever I pick, I will probably get to the chance to talk to this week. So
after the game?
Yeah, after the game.
So hopefully they don't see this segment?
I mean, think about what Dave just said. The left tackle, Wells, I think, for Cleveland. I mean, top 10 pick, fourth start. You got to go after him, right? Well, what does that say about Terrence Steele on the right side? Terrence Steele, as gritty as he might be, and he's surpassing expectations. Yeah, Myles Garrett's going to go after him, not so much Tyron Smith, I would think. So I would say the right tackle, and I think the right tackle will be Terrence Steele.
Dave.
I think that's the right answer, and I'll just flop it for the sake of being interesting, I guess. But there's not a whole lot you can do about the tackle situation. You're going to have to play Steele or Knight. I guess, you can kick Zach out there in an emergency, but you're down to these last options because of the injuries that you're facing. Whereas I am curious about the interior. It hasn't been an amazing start for either Connor Williams or Joe Looney. And there is stuff you can do about that. The Cowboys don't seem to want to, but Connor McGovern's still there, and Tyler Biadasz played very well, I thought, in his debut the other day. So I don't anticipate them doing that coming into this game, but maybe if those guys continue to struggle, there's stuff you can do there. And so I've got a really close eye on what they look like this weekend.
You mentioned Connor McGovern. Coach McCarthy actually talked about him this morning on the call. Did you hear what he said, and what were your thoughts on that?
He said he's still a developmental player, and I think the coaching staff just leans toward the experience in both of those regards. Obviously, Connor's in his third year as a starter, and Joe has been in the league for almost a decade at this point. And that was kind of my thought process heading into training camp, is that the guys that have been there and done that are going to have the leg up over somebody that doesn't have any NFL snaps. It is curious, though. Tyler Biadasz has gotten in and has looked good doing so. They haven't done the same with Connor McGovern. I wonder what level that they would have to struggle at before they would be willing to look at that. But it doesn't give you a lot of optimism that they feel that Connor McGovern can do that for them right now.
All right, let's go to the Cowboys defense. Where's Waldo on the Cowboys defense? Amber, let's start with you.
Secondary. Just based on last week's game, some of the separations that you saw between a receiver and a guy on the secondary, that's just ridiculous. And it cannot happen again this week, especially when you're playing a guy like Odell, where he's so skilled. So I think that there are many different points that you can point out in the defense as a whole, but I would just say the secondary.
Dave.
Again, I think that's the right answer, but I'll switch it up and just say between Nick Chubb and Austin Hooper, I bet the Cleveland Browns are going to challenge Jalen Smith a lot this weekend, and he's going to need to rise to that occasion. He's he's kind of on an island. Joe Thomas has played well, but when I say he's on an island, I just mean Leighton's not out there, Sean Lee's not ready either. He's supposed to be the best player in your linebacker core. He's had moments. He played better after week 1, I thought, but he's gotten exposed a few times. The play that Tyler Higbee made on him in week 1 is still burned into my brain. That's why I brought up Austin Hooper. So between dealing with the tight end and making sure the running backs are on the ground, I think the Browns are going to try to challenge Jalen Smith and see if he's up to it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Dave. Nick.
I would say the answer for me would be Diggs. Thinking about
really,
yeah. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be. But the game is called "Where's Waldo?" Like, who do we attack here? And that's who teams are attacking when it comes to the secondary. They are going after him. He is getting close to interceptions. He's gotten the ball in his hands every game. He's not picking it off, but he will. He'll get there. That might even be my gut feeling this week, is that he finally gets an interception. But I'm just saying that's where the attack point is, and they're going to keep doing that until he proves them. And he will. He's going to. He reminds me of maybe like a Janoris Jenkins type player, where he's aggressive. He's going to get an interception. He's going to give up some plays as well.
All right. Before we get to our predictions, we're going to do a little I know, I think, I have no idea. Nick, let's start with you. What do you know?
I know they're going to go after Trayvon Diggs. Now, I know that I know that the secondary will be better this week, the Cowboys secondary, because it can't get worse. It can't. It really can't.
Well,
Nah.
it can get worse because they're playing, in your opinion, a lesser quarterback.
Yeah.
So if that quarterback
Okay.
carves them up, it
That's
can get
fine.
worse.
I think that they will. I know. Sorry, I think.
I know.
I know that the secondary will play much better this week.
All right, Dave.
I know that the Cowboys have the better quarterback in this game, and if they can protect him, then I think that they'll win it. Pretty simple.
Amber.
I'm having a hard time trying to say what I think I know because I don't want to hear you. Oh, I'm going to challenge you on this, blah, blah, blah. So, sorry, I don't have a great answer. I'm just going to say I know that Alden Smith is going to be your best player on defense. I think that one I can say more confidently.
Okay,
So
let me challenge you on
I'm
that.
just going to go with that.
No,
Alden Smith.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. All right, here's what I know. I know the best offensive line group that this team could put on the field right now would include Zach Martin at right tackle. That's what I know. All right, I think. Nick, start with I think.
I think that CeeDee Lamb is going to be the best receiver on the field in this game. And I think he is going to have his breakout game. I just feel like it's kind of a rotation thing, and it happens, and it was Gallup's turn, and now it'll be CD. I'm seeing it down the center of the field. Boom, 75, 80 yards. Nah, maybe not 80 yards, but like I can see from the slot area, I see some big plays for CeeDee Lamb. I think he scores his first touchdown. He'll be the best receiver on the field.
Dave, what do you think?
Both sides.
I think that if the Cowboys are actually a good team, they should win this game. There's no shame in losing on the road to one of, either the best or second best quarterback in the league. I mean, Russ is out of his mind. The Rams look like a playoff contender. The Falcons, they played the worst first quarter in Cowboy history. Like, it makes sense. But this Browns team is just like the Cowboys. Like, they're talented without a lot to show for it. They got their doors blown off by the only good team they've played this year. I already said I think they have the better quarterback. And if they can't find a way to win this game, then they're probably just not all that good. And I'm going to readjust my expectations for what the season's going to be like.
All right. Amber, what do you think?
That's fair, by the way.
Very fair.
That's a very good statement. That's what needs to be a cow bite, right there. Cow bite.
Thomas,
hit it.
I really do think this is a game where the Cowboys will be able to find a really good balance between the running game and the passing game. I know it's going to be a challenge to get the running game going because of the kind of defense that Cleveland has. But I for some reason, I do think that the Cowboys will be able just to play around with trying to figure out the balance and not really exhaust one option versus the other.
All right. And what I think is that Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele, whichever is on the right side, will be outmatched by Myles Garrett, which will lead to some significant problems for the Cowboys offense. And at some point in this game, I think Zach Martin ends up being the guy that they slide out there in order to protect and give them a better opportunity to be able to complete some of their passes. All right. So let's get to the final part. I have no idea. Nick, we start with you.
I just have no idea what to expect from special teams. I think that their coach is good. He's been there for a long time, but veteran special teams coaches doesn't always mean that you have success. And so right now it's just one thing after another, and it's never the same thing. It's just something. And so I just don't know if you can count on the special teams. I just have no idea what to expect from them.
Dave.
I hope Nick was right with what he knows, because I have no idea if we're going to see a better effort from the secondary in this game. Hopefully they really buckled down on the details, because Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry they're twitchy guys. Like, they're such good route runners. DK Metcalf, he's just fast. Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry can create separation on their own with the way that they play. And it scares me to think, what kind of breakdowns might be in store while these guys wait for some of their cornerbacks to come back. That's the bit. I said it earlier in the week. That's the biggest thing for me is can the secondary improve on what we've seen the last 2 weeks?
All right, Amber.
I would say I have no idea. how well the Cowboys defensive line and linebackers will be able to play in this game. Like, one, can they put enough pressure? Can they get to the quarterback enough? And two, can they actually stop the run? Can they? We've seen the success that Cleveland has had with their running backs, and I quite frankly don't fully trust the Cowboys defense to fully be able to dominate that area of the game.
All right. And what I have no idea about is if this team is any good or if they're just having to find a way with their new scheme and not having as much prep time. I want to see against a team that is at best comparable to them, at worst lesser than them. I want to see if they can just come out and be more balanced in their run and their passing attack, in their run and their passing defense. I want to see if what we've seen so far this year has been just them trying to find their way. And we've seen some good things and we've seen some bad things. Can they level that out now against an equal or lesser opponent? That'll tell me a lot about how good this team really is or is not. All right. We're going to go ahead and real quick get our predictions before we end the show. We're going to start first with you, Dave. What happens this Sunday?
I sort of said it earlier. I just, if they're actually good, they should find a way to win. Dealing with Myles Garrett's going to be tough. I get that. The Browns are a very good team. I'm not saying that they're bad, but you got enough talent and you got enough things working in your favor that you should be able to win. I think the passing game is going to be wide open for Dak if he can stay on his feet. And like I said, I think Dak's the better quarterback. I think at the end of the day, I trust Dak to outplay Baker Mayfield. I got Cowboys 38-27, but it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be one of those situations where, the Cowboys are up by 2 or 3 and they score a touchdown late to kind of ice it. It'll be close for the vast majority of the game, but, they put it away to go up by 2 scores in the final 2 or 3 minutes.
Amber, what happens this Sunday?
Oh, it's going to be easy peasy. The Cowboys got this in the pocket. No. I'm just kidding. It never goes that way. The Cowboys can never just give you a peaceful game. But regardless of all the talent and based on the games that we've seen so far, I'm not fully convinced of the Browns just yet. Not that I'm fully convinced about the Cowboys either, but I do see the Cowboys just being able to get a win in this one. I see them being the most dominant team. I think that they might be able to turn things around a little bit on defense. So with that being said, I do think the Cowboys win as long as they don't make freaking mistakes. Stop dropping the ball, stop giving the ball away, and don't freaking get penalties. Stop that. Cowboys win, I would say, like 28-24, something like that. Okay.
Nick, you're up.
28-23. It was put on I said it on the radio this morning, so that was the score. So that's not. I'm not copying anybody's score. I just think the Cowboys will make mistakes. They're going to keep making them. They'll be good enough though to win. They've got the better quarterback, and they've got some playmakers that will help them beat a team that they should beat.
All right. I actually think the opposite of that, Nick, from the standpoint, I actually think this will be a much cleaner game for the Cowboys. I think they will start to round things out a little bit, and they'll start to settle in, and you'll see a lot better brand of football from the Cowboys here in Week 4. I actually think it'll be a lot less of a close game than we've seen over the last few weeks. I think the Cowboys win. I think they win 31-20. I think there'll be some moments when their defense will go some plays just because their defense is not great. We know that. But I do think overall, I don't think Cleveland will be able to keep up with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will just outpace them. I think they'll get out to a faster start, and I think they'll finally get an opportunity to see this pass rush in situations where they have a lead and they can kind of pin their ears back. I expect in that kind of situation, Cowboys are going to have 4 or 5 sacks in this game because I think they'll have some opportunities to really get after the quarterback, and I think they'll make the most of it. All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. We're back on Monday. We'll tell you what went right and what went wrong for the Cowboys. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!